As you know, as many of you know, we've decided to close our parks this weekend to help stop the spread of COVID-19. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about that decision and to answer any questions that you all might have. Our park system has traditionally seen a significant spike in usage during the Easter weekend that's coming up. Families go out to our parks to barbecue, people have picnics, groups gather for Easter egg hunts, and basically just to enjoy the nice weather that's typical for this time of year. It's a party, basically, out there in our parks, and I think that our Park and Recreation Director, John Jenkins, has seen that as well. We have great parks in the city, and I would have loved for our community to be able to celebrate Easter in our wonderful parks just like we do any other year, and I regret very much that we've had to make this decision. We know that Easter weekend this year will be unlike others that we've had. We've been pushing the message of physical distancing. We've been encouraging people to wear masks when they're outside. We've been telling people to stay at home. We gave some thought to leaving the parks open and trusting that people would be able to, on their own, keep their distance. But, and this is no surprise to anyone, everyone knows, these are extraordinary times. And keeping these parks open and needing to enforce our distancing and gathering rules could have put our park staff, our public safety personnel, and the public in harm's way. We're trying to do all that we can to protect our first responders, who we need to be able to do their jobs during this pandemic that we're facing. We'd already seen an increase, in fact, in the use of our parks now that the weather's gotten better and that gyms are closed and that our stay-at-home orders are in effect and people are trying to find a place to go to get some exercise and some fresh air. And we figured that we'd see considerably more people in our parks this weekend. And we simply cannot take what we believe to be an unnecessary risk of further crowding in our parks right now. We cannot afford to jeopardize the gains that the data suggests that we are making right now in our fight against COVID-19 with the stay-at-home orders that we have in place. I realize that more difficult news for a city that's experienced a lot of difficult news lately is something that I don't want to put on our city. But I thought about my own childhood growing up in a 2-bedroom apartment without a backyard and how it would feel for my family to have been stuck inside without a park or any place to go for Easter. And I feel for the parents and all the people out there who want some semblance of normalcy to return to our city as quickly as possible amid all this turmoil and all this uncertainty. And I can assure you that I'm as eager as anyone to move forward. I've been working from home as much as I can during this pandemic with my kids running around, making it very difficult to do much work. And I know that the emergency measures that we've taken have put a strain on all of our families in this city. I also know that it takes a mental toll every time we see the number of confirmed cases rising in our city, or we have to celebrate a birthday or an anniversary, or even mourn the death of a loved one through a video screen rather than in person, and sharing those times with our loved ones. But all, and I do mean all, of the measures that we've taken are temporary. And the parks are going to reopen on Monday to allow people to once again enjoy their time outside. We're going to get through this, and I assure you all that I'm working to prepare our city for life after coronavirus. I've been absolutely thrilled to see how all of us in this city are working together and helping each other through this very difficult time. Just because we're asking you to be alone doesn't mean that you are alone. And I'll keep saying this: we're all in this together. It's important that we don't lose sight of what's important right now, and that's our health and our safety. So this weekend, I'm asking you, please celebrate at home and stay safe, and show yourself and your family some grace this Easter. We're making progress against COVID-19, and you're doing right by your city by staying home. Thank you very much. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Jenkins, who is our Park and Recreation Director, to talk about the details of this plan. Thank you so much. John?
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. As it relates to this weekend, as Mayor Johnson mentioned earlier, we will be closing all 397 parks beginning this Friday, starting at 9 o'clock p.m., and they will be closed through Easter weekend, and we'll reopen on Monday, 7 o'clock a.m. Also, this includes all our golf courses. They will be closed as well. Digital messaging boards have been placed at several parks, and those digital messaging boards will let the public know in advance that we intend to close our parks this weekend. Park staff will start installing barricades this Friday once the parks are closed at 9 o'clock p.m. They will install barricades. They will make sure that we have additional messaging boards throughout the park system, letting our park patrons know that all the parks are closed for Easter. Also, our park rangers, park staff, along with code enforcement, Dallas Police Department, parking enforcement, and the Dallas Marshal Office will be patrolling the parks for enforcement to make sure everyone's in compliance. Our trails will remain open, but social distancing will be enforced. As I mentioned earlier, parks will reopen at 7 o'clock a.m. Monday, April the 13th. Mayor.